Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 221, the Alta Vendita of Jeffrey Epstein. Well, anyway, I want to be the first one to actually make the connection. And if it ever comes out in the future, they'll say, hey, he was correct. I don't know if you know what the Alta Vendita de Carbonari is. It was a document, the permanent instructions of the Carbonari. The Carbonari is an Italian branch of Freemasonry. It's essentially its whole design was to destroy the Roman Catholic Church because the Roman Catholic Church was getting in its way of New World Order. It's a Freemasonic movement, and they issued something called the Permanent Instructions of the Alta Vendita, the Carbonari, back in the 1800s, the mid 1800s. Great Pope Leo XIII, my youngest son is named after him, got his hands on it, and he forced its publication so everybody knows what the Freemasons were up to. And he published multiple encyclicals on Freemasonry. I think Genus Humanae was one of them, essentially about their plan to a New World Order and overthrow the Roman Catholic Church and to take out all national sovereignty and have one world government. Well, anyway, this is a true story. It's not even a slightly false story. There's, you can't even say this is a conspiracy nutjob thing because the document exists, and the Freemasons, their plan was not to fight the church externally because they tried that for many, many, many years, but the blood of the martyrs were getting in their way, and the church only got stronger. And what they decided to do was to infiltrate the church with young people that didn't mind going into the Catholic priesthood and then move their way up the ranks. And they said this isn't going to take years. This is going to take decades or centuries. And that as one soldier dies, the other one moves on. And their whole goal was to get the papacy, get a Freemason in the top of the papacy. Now, the Alta Vendita, and that's been happening, by the way. There are the sexual scandals within the Roman Catholic Church are unbelievable, and there's been a wonderful priest named Vigano, or an archbishop, I'm sorry, named Vigano, that came out last year, and he essentially assailed everybody within the Roman Catholic Church, saying that there's a mafia in charge, a mafia that is protecting itself, and they're very guilty of multiple sex crimes towards seminarians, and they're protecting one another. McCarrick was outed, he's one of them. Bishop Worrell's perhaps one of them. Supich, who the heck knows, but the Council of Cardinals, nobody knows how many of these people have done nefarious things with young men, and nobody knows, so you can't really weed them out. They're a mafia, and so if you're going to investigate, everybody knows who everybody within the Council of Cardinals knows who's with them in Freemasonry, and the non-Freemasons don't know who the Freemasons are. So therefore, it makes it very difficult to weed these people out. And Vigano essentially declared war on the Roman Catholic Church by telling the truth, saying that the problem is not the sexual mischievousness, it's not the pedophilia, it's not not all that stuff. I mean, that is a problem, but the big problem is it's a mafia, and the Catholic Church is completely controlled by sexual deviants and Freemasons at this point in time. It's essentially what Vigano says, and that's essentially the fruition of the Alta Vendita de Carbonari. Well, anyway, let's think about the Epstein thing that's going on right now. Jeffrey Epstein is a child sex offender. He's a multi-billionaire. He runs a hedge fund, and he is going to jail. But all that being said is there are a lot of very, very, very high-end people that are tied up with Jeffrey Epstein around the world who have drinking from the forbidden fruit or eaten of the forbidden fruit and have delighted themselves with young women. And some of these people, who the heck knows they are, but there's a list running around the internet right now, Bill Clinton being one of them, numero uno, I think. And he has 26 plane rides he took with Jeffrey Epstein that we know of. And he's been to his island multiple times. Donald Trump visited his island, they say, one time. And it was amazing to watch the internet, by the way, light up today that Donald Trump broke off his relationship with Epstein, apparently when he found out what was going on with Epstein, and he no longer associated with him. But the media is trying to sell that this is Donald Trump's conspiracy, not Bill Clinton's conspiracy. If anybody believes that, they're moronic, dumb, or just like they were born yesterday, perhaps last night, I don't know. But other people that are coming out. So Maxwell was this lady, I don't know what her name was, it's a tough name to pronounce. Her husband, or I'm sorry, she was the madam that would recruit these young girls who were either near homelessness or foster homes, disparaged, didn't have a good family life, were abused, and she would take them in and then feed them to these men, And these men would dig up dirt on very, very rich, powerful men so they can control the situation in the future. This is what Epstein's been doing, and it's going to come out hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I don't know if it's going to or not, frankly, because I don't trust the system. Let's see, a Clinton appointee has been put at the front of the trial. That shouldn't be allowed. Maureen Comey is one of the prosecutors. That shouldn't be allowed. These people are all deep state. They need to be excused, and they need to get some righteous judges and lawyers on this trial, ones that you know aren't tainted and don't have conflict of interest. But nonetheless, people that they say that are associated with Jeffrey Epstein, not saying they've eaten from the tree of knowledge, the forbidden fruit. Alan Dershowitz being one of them. Who did Alan Dershowitz get introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by? Lady Lord Rothschild. I mean, it's one of the Rothschild family that said, hey, you guys should get together and meet. Well, why would you do that? That's really interesting. Somebody got Donald Trump in touch with Jeffrey Epstein for business relations. Who knows? Who else is Prince Andrew's one of them? And apparently the list goes on and on and on. And Feinstein's daughter essentially said, we're going to lose a lot of our faves on this, but we need to protect the girls. So much to her credit, I'm really happy that she said that. But I don't know if all the names are going to come out, but this could potentially be the greatest scandal in the history of the United States of America, if not mankind. Because, by the way, Maxwell, the lady madam who was recruiting these girls, her father was tied up with foreign intelligence, and he was about to go to jail for war crimes when he was suddenly found dead in the Atlantic Ocean because apparently he fell off his yacht with a heart attack. If you believe that one, I mean, you were born yesterday yet again. Old men don't fall off of ships. They just don't do it, particularly yachts. And old men, when they get heart attacks, they tend to sit down. They don't go for a swim. That makes absolutely zero sense. So, Maxwell was the head of these large newspapers and press agencies. And so the web we weave, how deep does the hole go? So, by the way, so if you want to control the world, do you want to control the world, or do you want to control the people that control the world? This is the old Wizard of Oz tale, right? Don't look at the man behind the curtain. If you wanted to control the world, what you do is you get the rich and famous and powerful throughout the globe, and you wine them and dine them, and you bring them to these places, and you present girls that are perhaps slightly underage and see if they eat from the tree of knowledge or drink the forbidden fruit or eat the forbidden fruit. If they do that, then you have blackmailable information for the rest of their lives. And if they're in control, well, who knows how many of them are in control? How does this draw a parallel with Jeffrey Epstein or with the Vatican? If the Vatican, through the Alta the Carbonari, was infiltrating the church with Freemasons, and they were doing nefarious things to test each other's loyalty toward the cause, perhaps this is an American version or a New World Order worldwide version of the Ultima Vendita within secular government. It is possible, and the Freemasons are very nefarious people. They stand at all the head of the business of banking and the press and everything else. And so when this comes out and the Catholic Church goes down in flames for this scandal, and I'm not going to say it's going to go down, but it's going to take some great punishment, which it should if this has happened. The people within the church need to be expunged. They need to go down, and then all the people associated with Epstein need to go down. It could be the same movement. Now, another point of interest, I couldn't find it on the internet today, but I remember reading it when Pope Benedict stepped down, and then Trump was elected, and then Pope Francis was then elected Pope. So 4 years later, a bunch of cardinals got together after Trump was elected, and they wrote a letter to Donald Trump saying, we want to know if CIA or American intelligence had anything to do with the resignation of Benedict and the election of Bergoglio or Pope Francis. If that's a Freemasonic plot, it's possible. And why would some prominent cardinals ask that? Perhaps they weren't involved in the whole the pedophilia sex ring thing. And so there you go. This is Catholic Dad making you think about it. There is a parallel here. It's probably Masonic in nature. It's definitely of the devil that people are trying to take down any kind of institution that claims sovereignty over New World Order. The Catholic Church being historically speaking, the greatest entity against New World Order Freemasonry. It has been, and that's why the Masons want to take him down. Number two on the list was the United States of America. It was like Toby Keith put a boot in your butt song, like, we don't want to play your game in New World Order, but it seems like we've fallen and fallen hard ever since Woodrow Wilson. And so the Masons have they pushed and pushed and pushed, and they've infiltrated all levels of government, all levels of church, and they may be taking this ship down in the United States of America. But there is one man standing between the destruction of the United States of America and that of the Roman Catholic Church, Donald J. Trump. I don't know if you know this, but the RICO laws were activated with the child sex crimes of the clergy in the United States of America, and the Department of Justice has been launched into the investigation of all the dioceses to try to weed out all the offenders and all the enablers. Well, so the Department of Justice is on that. Well, so where else is the Department of Justice? It's also on Epstein. So one man, Constantine II, Donald J. Trump, might be the one to take out all the nefarious behavior within the Roman Church, as well as the government of the United States of America. And if this happens to be true, by the way, I think there will be a moment of clarity and clairvoyance and perestroika and glasnost and opening the windows and airing everything out. And if you do that, we could probably foresee many, many, many years of peace on earth if we could get all the evil people out of these institutions. Now, here's the other thing, by the way. What do you do with these people? I was actually thinking about it. Pope Francis is pushing really hard to get rid of the death penalty. Well, I think all the people in the church that have been doing this stuff probably should not just go away quietly into a jail somewhere. Probably these are crimes punishable by death, I would suspect. And all the evil people, the plotters and the people that are actually been manipulating the entire sovereign people of the United States of America, the public treasury and everything else, through this sexual crisis of Jeffrey Epstein, those people probably deserve some sort of hard punishment. And I'm not talking jail time either. Maybe that's what capital punishment is for, because you know what happens when you put political prisoners in jail? Well, somebody gets elected 5 years later and lets them out, and they're still just as motivated as they were before. Well, anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. This is a hard topic, but Epstein thing is going to be real. Who knows if it gets covered up? Who knows if bad things happen to the people that are investigating? It might happen, but these people are powerful, they're evil, and they're exquisitely well connected, and they have their hands in most of the intelligence agencies throughout the planet. I know this is conspiracy nutjob stuff, but please go read about it. Oh, the other thing is Acosta, the guy, Trump's Secretary of Labor, that was he was prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein back in 2008 when he got convicted of third-degree sex crimes with minors. He essentially said, I was told hands off, he belonged to the intelligence agencies. That's what Acosta said the other day. Whoa, that's a big deal. Hands off, he belongs to the intelligence agencies. So yeah, how big of a web do we weave? How deep of a hole do we dig? And if he does belong to the intelligence agencies, then he was, and by the way, there's people out there that, he was a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund manager. There hasn't been anybody that came out that said they worked for his hedge fund. Well, that's another weird thing too. Like apparently when he was arrested in Florida, he went off to he was under house arrest or whatever it was, where he could actually work 6 days a week on an outside institution. But who was employed there? Was Jeffrey Epstein there managing his money alone? I don't know. Well, anyway, this is Catholic Dad. It's fun to think about, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. But if it turns out it's Masonic in both cases, then you could tell the Roman Catholic Church getting punished because of Freemasonry, and the United States government getting punished because of Freemasonry at the exact same time. I think it's probably connected, but who am I to tell? I don't know. It's the devil himself. God bless you. Like or subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the daily rosary. Have a nice day.